Along the same lines, this has been a question that it's been at the back of my mind. I haven't actually asked you this directly yet, Mike, which is what value do you think signal groups offer, either directly from the what they're offering, or indirectly by participating inside of a signal group? I guess I should preface this by: have you ever participated in a signal group or taken a look to see what it's like?
Yeah, I've been a member or leader of a signal group as well. I've offered my own signals in the past. I think it really just depends on who is leading the signal group and their view on markets and their way the way in which they're teaching how the position should be managed. I do think it's fair to say that there are many talented traders out there that seem to be very consistent in their approach and seem to be offering signals that have a view on the market that seems accurate and seems to manage the risk well. That said, it is very difficult to find these. So you have to come into it with a skeptical viewpoint that, in all likelihood, you're up against a group that is doing their best. But again, nobody really knows the future. So you could walk in on day one and get a signal that looked great, and even the leaders of the group are thinking this is an A+ trade, and it still doesn't go your direction. So at the end of the day, the best way to handle inconsistency in any type of signal is to manage your risk, manage your position. Take it easy, do it with paper trading for a while, see how it works, and make sure that it's working. I think there's this eagerness to jump to profits as soon as possible because everybody wants to make a lot of money doing this. And yet the pain of losing money doing this is obviously going to trump the excitement of gaining money doing this any day for me anyway. So take your time with it.
I participate in so many signal groups with the express intention of never taking those trades.
Mm,
I just, it's so easy to get lost of like, well, the way that I think about it is the way that it should be, and just to see the reasoning that people have and the record that people can create, or that and my favorite is when I see that they have a run of good trades, and they seem like they're walking on water, right? And then anybody who comes into the group and all they've seen are the 7 great trades in a row, and then there's one trade that just completely wrecks the entire performance. The way that they set it up, it's really such an educational experience to realize that the market can humble you at any point if you're overconfident. And there's a certain type
100%.
of like confidence you have to have as I would imagine, as running a signal group, to send those signals out, because all these people are betting on it, and you're betting on it as well. So they have this accountability. It's like watching someone on a tightrope. That's essentially how I feel. And I'm like, okay, let me see how they're going about it. Let me see how they're balancing on it, and learn what I can from that. But I mean, just from our conversations over the last year, uh, how you've checked how I've made decisions in certain trades has completely like rejiggered some of my risk parameters, especially with like I was never using VWAP ever.
Mm.
I don't even know why I never even really thought about it. You brought that up, or the idea of how you when you suggested the idea of how to hedge a position in order to stay always long and sometimes short.
Mhm.
Since then, I no longer go short. Like I no longer go naked short,
Oh, I
or
see what you mean.
net short,
Right.
and
Fully
because
directional, one direction. Yeah.
exactly, I only see them as opportunities, if that, to add to a long position, and that's something that uh, I got from you, and participating in groups. You get to see how other people are responding to the signals that are there. So there's so
I,
many out there.
I
Uh,
agree. And I think that's an interesting observation. Like, again, back to my point earlier, I don't spend a lot of time thinking about putting money into somebody else's strategy because I want to manage all my own risk. However, the idea of joining a signal group just to watch how they trade and to take ideas from them, to just to gather their thesis on the market, their view on the market, how they're seeing supply and demand, support, resistance, how they interpret volatility. There's a lot to learn, I think, in people's different viewpoints of markets. And there's no question that of many of the people I've learned from over the years, CMTs and professional investment managers, they all seem to have slightly different views of the market, but all kind of, they manage their approach the same way, of course, managing risk the same way in many of the same ways, but their viewpoints on markets are sometimes fundamentally just totally different. They look at very different instruments, they use different products, they invest in different assets. It's fascinating to see how different things can be, and it can spark a lot of ideas if you spend some time just learning from others.